King Boom.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it.
Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken down waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to the heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, selling memory tells me don't fall for spooks. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the grand treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword.
The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists to know what drew our lead, started dropping it.
Islam, and greetings, Mars. Welcome back to another episode of Pardon the Interjection. I am your host, Supreme L, and I want to give high honors, extremely high honors, to Prophet Noble Drew Ali and all the active Moors and non-active Moors. You better get active, because time has been up. Here on Pardon the Interjection, we dig up information to divulge to the people in the upliftment of fallen humanity. And yes, it has been a long, hard fall, but there's a lot of us that's woke and is still waking up to the lies that has been thrown and thrusted upon us. And it is a beautiful day to be alive, Moors. Today I have a very special, a really great topic and some information that we're going to go over. And I want to first say this is for educational purposes only, not to be sold or no monetary, nothing is, I'm not gaining no monetary, no notes off of this. Actually, I've given out notes just to get this information, so in part I am privy to this information and to give it out because I did put up some notes for it. Okay, so that makes me eligible to do this and to teach my peoples, because the information that I'm about to divulge to y'all is public information. You can go online to the FBI files and get this. You can go on to many book selling properties and purchase this information. So for someone to say copyright infringement, nah, it's not, because it's public record and you can't copyright something that's public record. Okay, so miss me early with the bull jive, because I'm going to get this to my people anywho. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go into this information that we're going to divulge to the people, and it is the MOO files, or the MOO Caribbean files. And the Moorish movement in America, its inception, rise, and struggle in the American social system. All right, and the brother R. Edwards L., brother J. Burns Bay, and there was just the author and the co-author. So, but again, this is only for informational purposes, educational purposes, to educate our people. Again, not asking or getting any monetary or notes out of this, okay? And this is book 1, the MOORS files. And we're going to go into it. And it starts off the foreword. The MOORS Caribbean files are the results of a historical research quest that I took upon myself several decades ago. Many of the documents appear just as they were presented to me, i.e. old, yellow, cracked, and sometimes faded. My reasoning, so that you, the reader, could see the data in the same manner as I did. This approach allows the reader to see just how or upon what my conclusions were reached. If you agree or disagree with my conclusion, just consider and remember my conclusions are based upon my findings, personal experiences, background, academic advancements, and height of spiritual consciousness. You will note that the sources from which much of this information has been obtained has also been included for the reader's personal investigation. The MOORS Caribbean files are not designed to answer all your questions, but rather to give the reader a framework of facts and information that could lead to or allow the reader to arrive at the truth. It shows us what was, i.e., those things, events that did take place, and gives us some insight into the actions that brought about many of the decisions of the past, correct or incorrect as they may have been. This special Grand Governor's 2-set edition has been updated to include a number of current events. However, again, the MOORS files is not designed to answer all of your questions. It is designed to make you think about some things, look at some things, and to arrive at some answers regarding those things. It should be noted that I am not claiming to have any documents or information that is exclusive to me or my research team. By no means am I saying that. What I am saying and have said is that I have taken the time to research, gather, and compile the information, putting it in a single package for easy referencing. I have attempted to be objective, also, or as objective as possible in relating the information that I have uncovered. Of course, as an active member of the organization under research, this can only be accomplished to a certain degree. For example, on the question of Noble Drew Ali's prophethood, my position is fixed. He is the prophet and founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, INC, and he did come to warn the nations of the earth of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. That is a constant throughout my research that has not changed. Anything beyond that is subject to question, and if true and correct, should be able to stand questioning. And partner interjection, I'm glad you said that. It should be noted that I am not claiming to have any documents and information that is exclusive to him, because that opens the door for saying, yes, I can share this information because it's for information purposes. Thank you, brother. Okay, and we continue. And this is the author again. I pray that my work will be received in the true spirit of self-examination, for as the prophet Jesus taught the importance of this lesson in chapter 15 of the Moorish Holy Quran. Thus, if man is called or instructed to find periods of self-examination, why shouldn't an organization made of men do the same? May Allah, the Father of the universe, be forever pleased with our efforts to do that which is true and correct. May he continue to guide, or may she continue to guide and protect us by night and by day through his prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Logos of 1886. Peace. Pardon me. Okay, and it goes into the preface. Now, partner interjection, we may not get in all this on the first part, so I'm going to have to do this in part because this is really long. But I'm gonna bring the information to you, family. If I have to do a part 2 and 3 or whatever, it's going to get conveyed to you. Preface. Noble Drew Ali, the man, the prophet, and his mission. Pardon me. Noble Drew Ali, a man who made his entrance into the world on the 8th day of January 1886, was an extraordinary individual endowed with vision, purpose, and love for humanity. At the age of 27 in 1913, he formed the MOORS movement in America, later to be named MOORS Science Temple of America, INC, in Newark, New Jersey, to uplift fallen humanity by returning the nationality, divine creed, and culture to persons of Moorish descent in the Western Hemisphere. In succeeding years, Noble Drew Ali moved to Chicago, Illinois, organizing in 1925 as the MOORS Temple of Science. He later established a national headquarters and in November 1926, incorporated a civic organization in the state of Illinois. This was later changed on July 20th, 1928, at a special meeting to a religious corporation known as the MOORS Science Temple of America, and registered in the Cook County Office of Records and Deeds, August 1st, 1928. The purpose and goal of the MOORS movement were articulated by Noble Drew Ali in the September 14, 1928 edition of his national weekly publication, The MOORS Guide, when he indicated that it was building on human needs to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress, aid in the improvement of health, and encourage the ownership of better homes, find employment for members, and teach those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization. Pardon me. Such as obedience to law, loyalty to government, tolerance, and unity. He further stated, "We are friends and servants of humanity. We are dedicated to the purpose of elevating the moral, social, and economic status of our people. We have set about to do this through a wide and comprehensive program embodying the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. To that end, in the pre-Depression years of the 1920s, Noble Drew Ali worked with the Moorish Americans to purchase the first temple grounds in Chicago, Illinois during May 1926. At the Moorish-owned Unity Temple Hall located in that city at 3140 Indiana Avenue, site of the first Moorish National Convention from October 15th to the 20th, 1928. The Moorish and American flags were proud reminders of the dual heritage of our people. The restoration of the Moorish flag to the descendants of Africa in America by Noble Drew Ali was of special historic significance to the Moorish community and the world, for it took place in the United States during a time when the government of Morocco was in a state of subjugation to the French rule, 1912 to 1955, and could not raise the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center on African soil. Additionally, this action invoked memories of the unique role and contributions of Moorish Moroccan civilization to development of the American system. The first nation in the world to recognize the continental government of the United States, Morocco, signed the first international treaty with this country in 1787. At a time when Moorish descendants of Morocco's labored to help build the evolving American society. Inspired by the example of Noble Drew Ali, who founded the Moorish Manufacturing Corporation, which continues to produce remedies such as Moorish minerals and healing oil, antiseptic bath compound, and Moorish tea. His followers began to establish a variety of businesses business enterprises including restaurants, grocery and furniture stores, real estate firms, etc. When the Elks held their 29th convention at Unity Hall in 1928, the Moores Cafeteria service was commended for being one of the most beautiful examples of unity and service ever witnessed. Reporting on the Moorish Manufacturing Corporation in the September 14, 1928 edition of the Moorish Guide, Prophet Noble Ali commented, "In all of the various divisions of the factory, we have put on about 20 additional workers. This factory serves one of our main purposes because it gives employment to the members." Noble Ali was firm in stating, "We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. A beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spirituality of life." He successfully endorsed and supported the candidacy of then Chicago committeeman Oscar DePriest for the United States Congress in 1928. This endorsement came at the opening meeting of the Moorish Science Temple of America's first annual national convention, held in Chicago on October 16, 1928. Despite the fact that many others were afraid to express their support openly for Mr. DePriest out of fear that his campaign would not be successful, Moorish residents of the 1st Congressional District of Illinois, members of the Chicago Temple numbering 5,000, were among his staunchest supporters. Long before the now famous Civil Rights era, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America under the leadership of Noble Ali proudly cast their votes for Oscar DePriest, helping him to become the first person of African descent to serve in the United States House of Representatives following the completion of the Honorable George White, representative of North Carolina term in 1901. Noble Ali took part in a great parade celebrating the DePriest victory on Saturday, November 3, 1928, and one of the most spectacular occasions ever witnessed on the south side of Chicago. Thousands of automobiles formed an impressive caravan of citizens joining the forces in unity and love. The immense respect and admiration for Noble Ali's work was noted at the opening session of the Moorish Convention, when the dais of speakers included such distinguished city, state, and national leaders as the Honorable Louis B. Anderson, Alderman, the 2nd Ward, Chicago; Honorable Daniel M. Jackson, 2nd Ward Committeeman and Illinois Commerce Commissioner; Honorable Oscar DePriest, then a Republican committeeman and congressional candidate; Honorable Robert R. Jackson, Alderman, 3rd Ward; and Honorable George Blackwell, State Representative, Illinois Legislature. Additionally, representing the private sector, Mr. Jesse Bingo, President of the Binga State Bank, also spoke in honor of the industrious acts of Noble Ali. Moorish members from various states including New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Michigan, Arkansas, Ohio, Wisconsin, West Virginia, and Illinois were on hand to witness and participate in the event, unlike any to which they had been exposed. Convention activities included an outstanding parade through Chicago's residential district with temple officials dressed in full Moorish regalia, a musical concert featuring the Moorish chorus, a grand celebration with entertainment for delegates and guests, along with discussions, reporting, and the conducting of business among the membership. Prophet Noble Ali urged Moorish Americans to brighten the hopes of our youth and encourage the development of the Young People's Moorish League, as well as athletic clubs for children. Speaking about the Southside Boys Club Foundation in Chicago, Noble Drew Ali conveyed his fondness for young and concern for the development of human potential when he stated, "It takes sympathy, patience, interest, and the trained eyes of men well versed in the training and handling of young men to see the hidden beauty beneath the rough exterior. Remember, better boys make better men, and better men make better husbands for our daughters." In addition to his many positive works, Noble Drew Ali will be remembered by the world for being the first divinely inspired leader to return the Islamic creed to these western shores within the government of the United States. In the corporate information contained in the July 20th, 1928 affidavit of organization filed in Cook County, Illinois, Noble Drew Ali stated, "The Moorish Science Temple of America derives its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and truth of the great Prophet Ali in America, to appoint and consecrate missionaries of the Prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America." The words of Noble Drew Ali, recorded in his Moorish Letters Historical Message to America, appropriately summarizes his mission, philosophy, and dedication. "I urge you to remember there is work enough for all to do in helping to build a better world. The problems of life are largely social and economic. In a profound sense, they are moral and spiritual. Have lofty conceptions of your duties to your country and fellowmen in general, and especially those with whom you deal. This includes such honesty and righteousness as will cause you to put yourself in the other fellow's place. Look for the best in the others and give them the best that is in you. Have a deeper appreciation for womanhood. Brighten the hopes of our youth in order that their courage be increased to dare and do wondrous things. Adhere at all times to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am your affectionate leader. I shall continue to labor day and night both in public and private for your good, thereby contributing to the welfare of our country and its people as a whole. In fitting tribute to his eminence as a world leader, Noble Drew Ali has been honored by the cities of St. Louis, Missouri, Newark, New Jersey, Chicago, Illinois, Hartford, Connecticut, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, and Baltimore, Maryland, as well as by national and international organizations such as the National Conference of Black Mayors and the World Conference of Mayors for his work. The introduction. In view of my concerns regarding the many different groups presently operating under the name and or title of the corporation founded by Noble Drew Ali, i.e. the Moorish Science Temple of America Incorporated, I decided to conduct a survey and interview the more recent participants in this great Moorish drama. The ongoing partner interjection. Now we got to be careful because he say the recent participants, okay, in this great Moorish drama. So we got to look and be careful, okay, because we know everything up until the 1929 we know is allodial. After that it gets gray, and we gotta swim through the muck and get right to the gold, okay. So partner interjection. And we continue. The ongoing conflict and legal maneuvering over which entity has the exclusive rights to the teachings and status of the founder, Noble Drew Ali. Partner interjection right there. No one has rights to Prophet Noble Drew our teachings. He came in to all of us. He's a universal prophet, first of all, but he came to all of us. Not just, he's a universal prophet, and he came to us because we needed him the most. But no one has the exclusive rights to him or his teachings or what he bought for us, because he bought it for all of us. He said he bought information to save a nation. Now we have to take it and save ourselves. So do that with what you may. So, pardon the interjection. And we continue. To the teachings and status of the founder, Noble Drew Ali, has given rise to the frustration, disenchantment, and in far too many instances, the overt display of animosity and mistrust apparent in the words and actions of the younger Moors. Analogically speaking, and the present condition of the Moorish Science Temple is nothing more than a manifest of the soul of Noble Drew Ali. And as he demonstrated 2,000 years ago, the soul is without its manifest. The prophet is gone to teach. He's opening up the prison doors and setting the prisoners free. He's breaking the chains of the captive souls and leading them to light. Today, there are entirely too many lofty hills and empty valleys and rocks to be rendered before the prophet. Love, in parentheses, can manifest especially in a temple without a spirit, a body with no soul, and a temple with no altar fires. The way to Allah is not through a continuous court battle over such abstractions as the now empty symbols of life. This divine and national movement is not governed by some state or federal agency. Pardon the interjection. Let me run that back, and I'm going to say that again for people who think that they're going to tie themselves to the United States, which is bankrupt and insolvent, and think you're going to start something else. That this divine and national movement is not governed by some state or federal agency invested with the power and authority to issue copyright or trademarks. So take that what you will. Whoever think they're going to tie themselves to the U.S. and be a part of that, because that is a fraud. No state or federal can say you are this and you can be that. So that's hogwash. So pardon the interjection, and we continue. The prophet said that this was an everlasting movement. Therefore, it, by definition, has transcended the power and authority of finite man. It is in the mist surrounding these entities that I saw the desolate one rise to the surface of the earth, scheming a scheme, plotting a plot, devising a device he hopes will remove the ancient landmark of the Moors, so that they may stumble and fall. Woe to this destructionist! The true Moors shall see him go down for the last time. A prophet is a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. A prophet does not speak for himself. He speaks only what Allah has commanded him to speak. Therefore, Allah is the true author of this divine and national movement. Thus, who misplace the sacred name of Allah, since Allah cannot die or pass away, are praising a false God. Pardon the interjection. Now, this right here, to say anything about any copyrights or nothing, that's, we're not even worried about that. But this right here alone, will teach us, that there's no such thing as copyright infringements when it's coming from Allah. Allah is the true author. Alright? You're not saying or did anything that is your own. It comes from Allah. So I just want to throw that back out there again. Pardon the interjection. Those who misplace the sacred name of Allah, since Allah cannot die or pass away, are praising a false God. The prophet didn't raise no fools, even though he called the fool twice. The double negative didn't and no are the fool's attributes. They, the fools, are working hard at trying to be Moorish, so much so the pains cannot hide what they really are. Feeling the weight on their heads while in the dark, they thought that they has a fez. Well, the way this is worded, I'm gonna get, pardon me, the way this is worded, but I'm gonna work with it. While in the dark, they thought that they have a fez on, a turban on their heads, only to discover in the light that their heads were covered with dirt. Now, they are wondering why the young progressive thinking Moors are laughing at them. The problem of this age will be solved when the few faithful Moors show the rest of the Moors that the way to paradise is good works and kind words. If brothers and sisters just learned to love each other, they would have reached the pinnacle where they might be a witness for the truth as they view the destructionists as they fall. In this era, we must have such witnesses. The young and innocent must hear the truth that among the true Moors there is still much Islamism to be demonstrated. When we look in the face of a man and see that image, the awe of that recognition will remove all of the dust and fuss that are circulating in this Moorish atmosphere. Only in the Moorish Holy Quran can we breathe that pure Moorish expression of Allah. And seeing the image of Allah and knowing that He is beyond man's petty squabbles, we will understand that Prophet Noble Drew Ali is the embodiment of love. Therefore, He is the grand body. All other temples, if they are right, are merely cells in His structure, student branches of a master root. Brother James Ray Bay, Moorish sage, scholar, and teacher. So, partner Interjection, Noble Drew Ali is the grand body. I mean, so all these claiming that these are reincarnated prophets and all that, come on, buddy, stop it. Just stop it. Partner Interjection. And we continue. Overview. In preparation for this overview, I had the opportunity to read and review volumes of information and numerous documents, as well as to draw from my personal experience and knowledge of the Moorish movement. However, I found none more fitting and timely than the words of the Prophet himself. A thorough reading of his works revealed both his progress and his struggle. Like prophets before him, his work speaks to the past, present, and for the future. And this is a blessing and lesson for us. For we so readily aptly modern solutions, for we so readily apply modern solutions to the ancient problems. Noble Drew Ali outlined the goals and objectives of his movement in his 1928 historical message to America. Partner Interjection. Let's read that again and pay attention to that. Noble Drew Ali outlined the goals and objectives of his movement in his 1928 historical message to America. He went on to state, in connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization, covering its inception, rise, and progress, and of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you at all times to adhere to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice in your relations with mankind in general. I further most anxiously hope. This brief statement will help you to more clearly see the duty and wisdom of it all times, upholding those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization of our prosperity, such as obedience to law, respect and loyalty to government, tolerance and unity. And partner interjection, it says, such as obedience to law, not policies. Okay, we have to distinguish what's law and what is policies. Okay? We have to distinguish what is laws and what is policies, because now we have policies. We're following policies. We're not following laws. We're following more policies than laws, and policies dealing with corporations. Okay, so let's get that clear and clean that up. Partner interjection. We organized as the Moors Temple of Science in the year 1925 and were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois. November 29th, 1926. The name Moors Temple of Science was changed to the Moors Science Temple of America, May 1928, in accordance with the legal requirements of the Secretary of the State of Illinois. The object of our organization is to help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity and teach those things necessary to make our members better citizens. A national organization with a Rotarian complexion as it relates to branch temples become obvious with the increasing number of inquiries from men and women in different sections of the country concerning the purpose of the organization. There are branch temples in 15 different states at this time. Since the work of the Moors Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has been legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office of Illinois. Inspired by the lofty teachings of the Quran, we have it as the revealed word of Allah, God, Allah. We shall foster the principles of its teachings among our members. This is our religious privilege as American citizens. Partner interjection. Not United States citizens, not U.S. citizens, but American citizens. And we continue. Under the laws of one of the greatest documents of all time, the American Constitution. The Mohammedan religion is the least appreciated and probably the most misunderstood of the world's great religions. This is especially true in our Western world. Try to understand what Mohammedanism stands for and some of the things it has contributed to the world. Muhammad was the founder of the Mohammedan religion. It originated 13 centuries ago on Arabian Peninsula, where the streams of commerce and culture met and mingled in the Middle Ages, where the markets of exchange were stationed for treasurer of India and the products of the Mediterranean coast. There, this religion was established in the unprecedented short period of 20 years, and unlike many other religions without the aid of any royal patronage and support. Buddhism had its Asoka, or Asoka, A-S-O-K-A. Judaism, its Joshua. Christianity, its Constantine. But Mohammedanism had no person of royal rank and power to assist in its establishment and spread. Today, this religion is acknowledged by nearly 250 million souls and extends over an area equal to 1/3 of the globe, or Earthland. From Arabia, it spreads eastward over Persia, Turkestan, Afghanistan, westward across Syria, Asia Minor, Turkey, southward to Africa, covering more than half of that continent. It found its way to India and beyond, to the islands of Sumatra, Java, and Borneo. To the early representatives of this faith, the world's debt is incalculably great. For it was they who transmitted the treasures of Greek literature from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. They who originated the graceful forms of which the Taj Mahal and the Alhambra are the most famous examples. It was they who contributed to the sciences of algebra and chemistry, astronomy and medicine. They who dotted the Saracen Empire with universities and who built at Baghdad and Cairo the most renowned universities of the world. During those centuries of During the centuries of ecclesiastical disposition, when the Christian church suppressed all intellectual activities save those that were theological, causing the talent that reproduces to supplement the genius that creates. Mohammedans did all in their power to encourage and stimulate research in every branch of human inquiry. The Moors or Mohammedans added to the beauty and grandeur of Spain. For centuries, art, science, literature, and chivalry flourished among them, while the rest of Europe was still sunk in the gloom of the Dark Ages. The Moors were the most ingenious and industrious of the subjects of Spain. Their expulsion from Spain in 1610 was one of the chief causes of decadence of that country, for both agriculture and industry fell into decay after their departure. So, pardon the interjection. This right here says their expulsion from Spain was 1610, not 1492. So we still was there after 1492. Just something to think about. Pardon the interjection. Mohammedanism makes no distinction between high and low, rich and poor. It is like the sky. It has room for all. The Quran should be of interest to all readers. It is the Bible of the Mohammedans, ruling over the customs and actions of over 200 millions of people. It is a work of importance to rather consider from a religious, philosophical, or literally viewpoint. And the promotion of plans for the betterment of mankind, there has ever been some kind of opposition, and range as it may seem, such opposition has come from sources where there are no ideas. Pardon the interjection. The way this is worded, like I said, I'm going to bring it to you the best way I can, but it is kind of worded. The grammar is not perfect, but we're going to work with it. Again, pardon the interjection. In range, as it may seem, such opposition is come from sources where there are no ideas or the lack of courage to force attention to ideas. whether in church, state, or the social community. Any attempt to do anything out of the usual way seldom fails to receive criticism. Pardon me. Not because the course cannot be pursued legally or that it is unreasonable, but because it has been centered in terms as new. The Moore Science Temple of America has received some opposition and criticism. In the main, the opposition has come from certain Christian ministers. They have expressed themselves as being opposed to our promotion of the Mohammedan religion, possibly because the promotion of the Mohammedan faith among our people in the United States is considered by them in terms of something new. Whatever the reason may be for their opposition, the legal right to oppose citizens, individuals, and organizations alike for their religious belief does not exist in the United States. The door to the religious freedom made by the American Constitution swings open to all, and people may enter through it and worship as they desire. Without religious freedom, no search for truth would be possible. Without religious freedom, no discovery of truth would be useful. Without religious freedom, religious progress would be checked, and we would no longer march forward toward the nobler life, which the future holds for the races of men. Without religious freedom, there would be no inspiration to lift our heads and gaze with fearlessness into the vast bend, seeking a hope eternal. It is a sad weakness in us after all. Oppose our fellow men for those religious beliefs, and if there are angels to record the sorrows of man as well as their sins, they certainly know how my and deep, pardon me, that's not perfect grammar, pardon me, but okay, well, they certainly know how my and deep are the useless sorrows that spring forth from such opposition. Possibly, love and time will counsel our ancient hatreds in this regard and prove that in mankind tolerance is better in unwarranted opposition. In connection with our religious aims and belief, we must promote economic security. The preaching of economic security among us is by no means as to spread an intensive as the circumstances demand. No other one thing is more needed among us at this time in greater economic power. Better positions for our men and women, more business employment for our boys and girls, and better incomes will follow our economic security. We shall be secure in nothing until we have economic power. Again, a beggar people cannot develop the highest in them, nor can they attain to a genuine enjoyment of the spiritualities of life. Our men, women, and children should be taught to believe in the capacity of our group to succeed in business, in spite of the trials and failures of some of them. Trials and failures in business are by no means confined to any particular group of people. Some business ventures of all people fail. We have many men and women among our people who are qualified, both by training and experience, who are shining lights in the business world of all the people. It is a sad weakness in us as a people that we have withheld the very encouragement, support, and patronage that would have made some of our worthy business ventures a grand success. And worst of all, have joined in the condemnations of them when they fail. Except in cases of actual dishonesty, discourtesy, lack of service, and actual unreliability, our business enterprises in every field of the endeavor should have fullest of confidence, cooperation, and patronage whenever and wherever they can be given. Read carefully the doctrines of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It contains our hopes, aims, rules, and articles of religion. Every member should have a copy. In conclusion, I urge you to remember there is work enough for all to do in helping to build a better world. The problems of life are largely social and economic. In a profound sense, they are moral and spiritual. Have lofty conceptions of your duties to your country and fellow men in general, and especially those with whom you deal. This includes such honesty and religiousness as well as will cause you to put yourself in the other fellow's place. Look for the best in others and give them the best that is in you. Have a deeper appreciation for womanhood. Brighten the hopes of our young in order that their courage be increased to dare and do wondrous things. Adhere at all times to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am your affectionate leader. I shall continue to labor day and night, both in public and private, for your good, thereby contributing to the welfare of our country and its people as a whole. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He will later declare in his divine warnings to the nations, the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and go back to that state of mind to their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will learn, they will be law-abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens. According to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings, they are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights, unmolested by other citizens, that they can cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of that state's government. Pardon me. And not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many years. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply, for they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver, and commerce belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they will learn to love instead of hate and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issue and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by some national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution have never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the hind to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. I, the prophet, do herein believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such class of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers, and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of men or man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way, and without understanding they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc., in their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. Pardon me. And they fought the Southerners for all these great misuses. But I have traveled in the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great missionary work to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. From the Prophet Jew Ali. He will go on to announce to the public in general, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and who your forefathers were, because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, and divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, seek to redeem this nation from mental slavery which you now have. Need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is a field open to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the European and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can be, or only as it can, and that is by the Moorish national divine movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it was said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you." Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Having addressed the world, the nation, and public in general, Noble Drew Ali soon had to address internal concerns and emerging problems in the organization leadership. In several articles published in the Moors Guide, he will issue a number of warnings declaring, Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the Prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings them down, wrath upon their heads like the sword old Damocles had, Damocles, intrigue and scrupulous. Cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because Moorish movement has, pardon the interjection, the way this is worded, I apologize. And we continue, this is so because Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may he called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are vanguards of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only lie in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the Prophet, knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors. But the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavenger, flying high, catch spent, devour and leave crying out. Caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks wait. In another message, Noble Drew Ali will be more specific regarding who he was talking to. A warning was issued declaring, a warning from the Prophet for all governors and grand sheiks and head officials of all temples. Renew your acts, amend your ways, because the great conference is on its way, and in it is where the law will be enforced before the great grand body. The continuance of the present officers in the temple will depend on your past good work. Those who have been delinquent may now know that they will not be tolerated any longer, because this great divine and national movement must move on according to law. These things shall be proclaimed. There is no favorite in any of the temples, for the law is laid down, and everyone who claims a part of the work must be governed accordingly. All are one. There is but one temple in this nation, and there is but one prophet of the temples. Pardon the interjection. Now I want to read that again, and I want to go in and talk about that a little bit. Not too much, but it says, there is no favorite in any of the temples. This is the Prophet Noble Drew Ali saying, there is no favorite in any of the temples, for the law is already laid down to everyone who claims part of the work. So it's already laid down. It's written. And it says all are one. We are all one. There is but one temple in this nation, and there is but one prophet of the temples. Going back to say these reincarnated prophets, we're not having that. There's only one prophet and only one temple. And this is what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. Not me, not Cujo, not Taj. This is what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali said. So, put that in your mouth and bite on it. And pardon the interjection. And we continue. I come to speak to all nations, bringing them a message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. In the head of every temple, if anyone has violated these divine laws, it will mean his discontinuance. For no man is to be under the influence of intoxicating liquors, nor to seek to tear up the families while under the influence of any evil motive. Nor must he speak anything that will prejudice the minds of the public against the divine movement. If any of the laws are violated, anybody of grand sheiks or sheiks can file charge against the violation to the grand body over which the Prophet presides. This power is vested in 7 or more sheiks for the protection of your temple and the divine movement. In another message, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was forced to clarify his position and declare his authority and power. Pardon me. Prophet announces his authority and power. Forced to make changes. All governors and other officers of the Moorish Science Temple are hereby congratulated. The words are just, anyway. Congratulated for their past loyalty and fidelity. For I know it will be the same in the future, because of certain incidents that have risen in some of the temples, which seem to come from the fact that there are those who do not know where the seal of power is vested. The Prophet has ordered the following to be published. All authority and power of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc. is vested in the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and those whom he appoints to act as in the supreme body. The Prophet has the authority and power to expel any officer or member of the Moorish Science Temple of America who willfully violate or refuses to comply with the rules in regard to branch Moorish Science Temple. And such suspensions and expulsions shall stand until in the judgment of the Prophet. The members and officers shall have made satisfactory atonement. All officers and members of the Moorish Science Temple of America and any such rules and regulations of the Constitution shall he in writing and not at variance with any law of the city, town, or nation which the Prophet shall declare a law. During this session of the convention, all rules, regulations, and laws of the Constitution and such as might be enacted and ordered by the Prophet shall express and explain in detail, so there can be no doubt as to what is required of each and every officer and member of the organization. The Prophet will positively not tolerate any interference with the operation of this national divine movement from anyone. In one of his final messages, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke to the behavior of some of his members and to the need for all members to obey the law. He will go on to publish, both in Moorish Guide and the Chicago Defender, a proclamation of order. Thus, it was written and published. Prophet warned all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at every meeting. Pardon the interjection. Now, this is the letter that's supposed to be read in every meeting that does not get read in every meeting. So pardon the interjection. I have the pleasure of reading it right now to you here. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are we are for love, truth, peace, and freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice then must take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the Prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their Prophet. If they lose confidence in their Prophet, they should turn in their card, button, cease wearing their turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the Prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sins by order of Prophet Nubuju Ali. The Holy Prophet Nubuju Ali pulled the veil of life on July 20th, 1929, leaving the Moors Divine and National Movement Moors Science Temple of America, Inc. in the hands of the Moors of America. After the passing of the Holy Prophet Nubuju Ali, founder of the Moors Science Temple of America, his followers entered a dispute over leadership that has lasted to this very day. Volume 1 of this book is an examination of that dispute. The conflict and the controversy of leadership. The inception. The Moors Science Temple of America is the oldest Islamic organization in North America. It was originally founded in Newark, New Jersey in 1913 under the name Ancient Canaanite Temple. Note, it is believed by some Moors and taught to some Moorish American historians that the organization was named the Moors Divine and National Movement in 1916. However, its founder Nubuju Ali moved his movement to Chicago, Illinois in 1917. It was there that he later organized as the Moorish Temple of Science in 1925. Note, some Moorish Americans give this year as the birth of the name Moorish Holy Temple of Science. The following year, November 29, 1926, Nubuju Ali and 4 other members incorporated the Moorish Temple of Science as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois. Among the original incorporators were James Lomax, Eddie Watts, Samuel Suckers, and Johnny Reynolds. According to its corporate mandate, the Moorish Temple of Science was established to teach its members those things necessary to make them better citizens and to help in the great program of uplifting fallen humanity. In an effort to fulfill this mandate, several changes were made to the Moorish corporate structure. In 1927, the name Moorish Holy Temple of Science was unofficially adopted, symbolizing the beginning of Nubuju Ali's divine ministry. It was during this same year that the Moorish Publishing Company was established with the Moorish Guide, a bi-weekly newspaper beginning its circulation. The staff of the Moorish Guide consisted of Nubuju Ali, publisher, Richard H. Ross Bay, editor, Juanita Richardson Bay, assistant editor, and Pearl Drew Ali, secretary and treasurer. The Moorish Guide would eventually become the official voice for the Moorish movement, publishing sensational and profound articles by its founder and top officials of the Moorish organization. The year 1927 would also witness the first printing of the Moorish Holy Quran, a small pamphlet of 48 chapters, setting the tone and character for the Moorish Muslims. Although it was published in 1927, the Moorish Quran wouldn't reach the hands of the general membership until December 15, 1928. In the meantime, the Moorish organization would make several changes in its complexion. On May 2, 1928, at a meeting of the members of the Moorish Temple of Science, its name was officially changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. This was followed by a special meeting held July 20, 1928, wherein its corporate status was changed from civic to religious. Its directors were elected, and sheikhs were appointed according to the provisions of Hurd's Revised Stats, Chapter 32.26. Our appointed, or wardens, vestrymen, or whatever name they may adopt. Nubuju Ali, E. Millie L., Small Bey, and Foreman Bey became the official directors of the Moorish movement, with E. Millie L. becoming its first Grand Sheikh and later president. Pardon the interjection, and I was just showing newspaper clippings and a picture of our true successor to the movement, Brother E. Millie L. Brother E. Millie L., Supreme Grand Sheikh of the Supreme Ground Council of Moorish Holy Temple of Science, General Chairman of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, First Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Temple of Science, and Grand Sheikh Corporate President, February 1929, of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc. Grand Sheikh of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Governor Grand Temple No. 1, Divine Minister Adept. Establishment of a religious society. An affidavit of religious organization reflecting these changes was filed on from Form 1099, which the Cook County Recorder of Deeds in Book 521 on page 579. According to this form, the Moorish movement had a new mandate, deriving its power and authority from the Great Quran of Mecca. It now set out to propagate the faith of Muhammad and extend the learning and truth of the great prophet of Ali in America. Through the appointment and consecration of missionaries, Noble Drew Ali established his movement upon a Rotarian complexion, opening branch temples in 15 different cities by mid-1928. The first annual National Convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America was held between October 15th and 20th, 1928, in Chicago, Illinois. Among those that attended, okay, and it's going back to what we were saying earlier. Okay, and it says a parade was held. The members of the Moorish movement, dressed in garb of their ancient heritage, marched from 37th and Federal Streets east to Wabash and north on Wabash to 32nd Street. They continued on to the national headquarters located at 3141 Indiana Avenue. It was during this convention that Noble Drew Ali would hand down his divine constitution and bylaws, additional laws, and a study guide entitled Quran Questions for Moorish Americans. He declared, these are my general laws. The supreme laws will be handed down later. The first annual National Convention of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Inc. was without doubt the greatest success of any convention that has been held in Chicago in many a day. There were delegates from 15 different states. All came as was expected by the prophet, although many of the temples did not represent according to the numerical strength of them. The program, as was dictated by the prophet, was followed in detail, and everything went as was expected. The opening of the session was the registration of the delegates and visitors at the general headquarters, 3140 Indiana Avenue. There were more than 3,000 delegates and visitors from out of the city. The main auditorium of the temple was crowded to its capacity every night. The day sessions were given over largely to the business of the different temples. The Moroccan costumes worn by the members of the Moorish Science Temple was a very different but striking sense during the convention, and made everyone know that the prophet had introduced a new feature in the apparel of the organization that distinguished it to the public as nothing else could. And there's a picture here with Oscar the Priest and the Prophet and a couple other congressmen and lawmakers or lawmen. Monday night session. The temple was beautifully decorated in lovely roses of white and red. The roses were designed in the form of a crescent and star. And chair of the prophet was a mass of white roses. There was a testimonial meeting, and a sister from Temple 5 gave a speech titled, "I am glad I am not a Negro." Jesus passed this way before. Afterward, Governor Garner Bay, Temple 4, Detroit, Michigan, was introduced. He said, "I am here because of the prophet," and he proceeded with a most excellent speech. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali and a number of governors and grand sheiks came in dressed in costumes representing the nations of the world. The prophet leads the group. The spirit of the prophet filled the temple for a long time. Such rejoicing you never heard. Afterwards, the Governor Garner Bay proceeded with his speech. He emphasized recognition. His speech was a masterpiece. Then Brother W. Smith Bay of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, was present. He sued for his subject, the spirit of unity. How our hearts burned while he talked. The MOORS then sung "Shine on Me." At this point, we were in the midst of a glorious meeting. Grand Governor J. Lomas Bay of Detroit, Michigan, Temple 4 was present. He said, "When the prophet speaks through us, we feel no fear." He used for his subject, "My Father and I are one." He proceeded by saying, "I cried for this message, prayed, bore the cross for this message, but we had to wait on our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who is shaking every government." Grand Governor Lomas Bay was caught in the spirit, and he spoke as never before. Also, he directed the song "Free at Last." He said, "The spirit of resurrection is in the land, and we are rising out of the grave one by one." There was a song by Sister Mince Bay, Nince-Bay, and two little girls. They are from Temple 3, Milwaukee, Wise. The song was "Who is Noble Drew Ali?" The words were touching. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali came forward and said, "The garment I have on represents power, and if you obey my voice, you will have power with me. I am going to free you, though it is hard because of your mixture, which brings out many different spirits. When you fail to hear my voice, you are lost. It is against the law to stand up in any audience intoxicated. The leader is not to stay out all night giving earnings away to someone else. You who are heads of temples, it is easy for you to destroy the influence of the temple. Now lace up your shoes and get right." Tuesday PM session. We assembled at 3 p.m. Governor E. Millie L. Temple No. 1, Chicago, Illinois, opened the meeting. Governor Gamer Bay made the opening address. Grand Governor J. Lomax Bay of Michigan took charge, reporting the work of Temple 4 and its commercial enterprises. Temple 4, Sunday School was represented by Sister M. Sanafer L. The work was represented in its fullest extent. The temple was spiritually and financially represented by Brother J. Lomax Bay, Grand Governor. The report was a credit to the temple. Brother Trailer Bay and others gave short speeches, and then the prophet spoke. A collection was taken. Tuesday night session. On Tuesday night was held the formal opening with many prominent speakers. Among them were Alderman Lewis B. Anderson, who delivered the welcome address to the delegates and visitors, Dr. C.V. Roman of the Meharry Medical College, Nashville, Tennessee, and that's Meharry Medical College, Nashville, Tennessee, was a pleasant surprise speaker who was in the city in the interest of the congressional campaign of Oscar DePriest. Honorable Daniel Ma Jackson was absent because of business with the government at Springfield, Illinois, but was represented by attorney Aaron Payne, who delivered a very forceful address touching on many things interesting to the Moorish Americans. He said, "I don't know a moment of my life that I have been more happier than now." His speech was of the highest type. Honorable George W. Blackburn, representative of Chicago, Illinois, said, "I am here to serve you. We are all Moorish Americans." Notwithstanding the fact, Honorable Oscar DePriest as well as Alderson was very busy with the campaign. They took time to stay throughout the meeting. There were some other speakers that preceded the Holy Prophet. Governor Pilot Bay of New Jersey came forward, using for his subject, "Let the Moors lead." Someday the Moors will lead the world back to love. One half of the wisdom of Noble Drew Ali has never been told. Nations crying for peace, but our prophet declared there shall never be peace until the world has accepted love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The president of the State Band of Chicago was introduced and proceeded by saying, "I don't want my job if I can't serve you all. If I can serve you all, it is not worthy of being open. I am the close man to your temple, and I'm going to follow him too." The Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali arose and declared, "You stop figuring out your way, how your salvation will come. Just follow me. You can say one thing, Moors. You have made a start for the kingdom. If you want success, you must follow the prophet." Pardon me. Husbands, take care of your wives and families. Wives, keep your homes and children clean. His talk was wonderful. Governor Emily L., Temple 1, Chicago, Illinois, said, "There is just one way for the Asiatic. One religion, Islamism. One God, Allah, and one destiny." Afterward, we were favored with a musical presentation by the Chicago Brass Band. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came forward again and said many good things. He said, "I have done more than you think I want you to help me by your good deeds of living at home and abroad. It is through your good, not with your lips, trying to be the front seat in everything, always standing in my face. Moors, be careful of your steps. Leaders of temples must be careful how they walk. They must be an example. I am not asleep. It will take you Moors a long time to find out what I did today. When you all go home, don't start no stuff, for I will be right there listening at you." The closing address was delivered by the Honorable Oscar DePriest. He outlined very simple but forcefully the matters involved in the congressional campaign of the first Asiatic congressman. Honorable George Blackwell, state representative and a strong member of the temple, explained the economic situation as it relates to the Moorish Americans. It was a very interesting address. The meeting was extremely enthusiastic. It could be easily seen that the Moorish Americans caught the spirit of the speaker and demonstrated it. The Moorish American Parade. On Wednesday at 2 o'clock, more than 3,000 Moorish Americans in Moroccan costumes, and each carrying a flag of the nation of their forefathers, which is the Moorish flag, and an American flag on their right, assembled at 37th and Federal Street, where they have purchased a temple site, and there, after having a group picture, which was very colorful, formed for the parade. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in securing a permit for the parade, also secured a squad of European police to accompany his car in the parade. The line of march was from 37th and Federal Streets east to Wabash and north on Wabash and 32nd Street, then to the temple at 3140 Indiana Avenue. It was one of the most beautiful parades that had ever been held in Chicago for a number of years. It was started by all of the leading newspapers. It was stated by all the leading newspapers of the city. This parade did much to inform those who were not acquainted with the movement as to the aims and purpose of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Many citizens have never seen so many Moorish Americans dressed in Moroccan costumes, therefore voiced their hearty approval. And then there's the Moorish Science Temple of America's first annual convention, Chicago, Illinois program. Wednesday night session. Grand Governor Crumbie Bay of Pittsburgh presided. There was a befitting program that was rendered by members of Temple 5, which consisted of reading, a quartet, and reports of the temple. Thursday p.m. session. There was a testimonial service. Brother Trailer Bay of Philadelphia came forward and said, "Be careful what you say, how you say, when you say, and where you say." Governor White Bay of Charleston, West Virginia said, "When I accepted my nationality, people called me crazy. If Islamism would make you go crazy, we all should go crazy." He listed for his subject, "For what cause are we here? To take our mind back to Islamism, that we may be able to function under the 5 greatest principles that the world has ever known." Sister Smith Bay of Baltimore, Maryland, made a very nice talk. There was a talk by Sister Tompkin L. of Detroit, Michigan, Temple 4, which was very good. Brother Ross Bay spoke, saying that Edison solved big problems by giving a little bit of 40 different men all coming together. Grand Governor Lomax Bay, who spoke out of soul. There was a solo by a little girl from Temple 1, Chicago, Illinois. There was a reading by Sister Pearl Ali. Sister Lomax Bay, Temple 4, Detroit, Michigan, sang a solo. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali came forward and said, "This is no social organization. It is a divine and national movement." He went on to say, "By you being born here don't make you a citizen. Look what I have on. Now this was handed to me by the government. It represents the royal prince." It goes on to say, "Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follows a prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown." Alright. just gonna go and we're gonna hold it off here, and we're gonna come back with a part 2, and that is we're gonna start back up on page 35, because it gets really, really interesting. I mean, really, really interesting. Okay, if it's not already, it's already it's already interesting, you know. But it gets more interesting. Okay, and alright, so we're gonna hold it off here. Because we're going to come back into the controversy in leadership, dealing with Brother Givens L as a reincarnated Brother E. Millie L, true successor, and we're going to come back on that, and we're going to get back and take that and do it the right way, starting from page 35. Like I say, this is a really interesting read, really good, interesting read. Okay, so I want y'all to stay tuned, and we're going to come back to a part 2 on this of the MOORS files, because everyone should have this. I mean, it lays it all out. It lays it all out, family. So we're gonna come back with part 2 of this and finish it up. And like I said, don't believe me, go check it out, and you'll be amazed at the jewels you'll find on your treasure hunt, Moors. The half has not been told, because if it was told to you, you'll go back to sleep. You gotta go and study, find it out. I love you, Moors. And that's why I do what I do, because I have a Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, that I love and give all honors to. And that's why I do it. Because when I make my transition to the other side of the earth plane, and I'm no longer here, I want to know, and I'm going to know it, that I did what I have to do to help raise fallen humanity. I've done my part. So do yours. Study, 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 Moors. Again, I love you, Moors. That's our first principle. And I'll see you next time. Again, stay safe. And as always, Islam, love, and peace forever, Moors.
Yeah. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm going at dirty rappers, lynching dirty Moors too. Hiding literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filings, it's fiat, they robbing. They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage, or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they wanna talk a bounce like off a trampoline mattress, treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stabbed with a brand like a mean savage. This Inquisition's divine, all others average. Millennium Renaissance, heroes in our classes. Fed up with the czar controlling fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. Down the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning in Bohemian Grove. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed Drew. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers, Moorish literature and divine bylaw changes. Might as well say Drew Ali was born in a manger. Prophet pushed poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand Sheik Punkin stumbling drunk in their fairs. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read. Some Moors are so active, Prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the Prophet noble Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. Everybody wants to be just like Drew Ali, but nobody wants to care about Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors